Hello.
Just a reminder to put yourselves on mute if there's someone around you that you feel might start a conversation, or an animal that might decide to start barking, or it's comes through Zoom really loud. So just a reminder to have yourself on mute. I'm happy to take questions. It's important with what we're doing to have it be interactive. But okay. All right, that person obviously didn't hear that. Okay.
Case in point.
Okay, so right, exactly. That was sort of a great example. Okay, so today I'm going to go over some ideas of how to get stronger. Okay, which sounds almost like the antithesis of the opposite of what the miracle ball method is. The miracle ball method is working through your nervous system so that you can get a sensory experience with your physical body. Right? You can't move what you don't feel. All right, so some of you may have used the balls, maybe be like a little unclear, is this rolling on the balls? Even some of you that have been doing it a while, there's always that transition from using the method and getting stronger. Okay, so what do I mean by that? So we're going to take everyday movements, and I'm sure, I don't know, have any of you thought about like any everyday movements that you do that are kind of like exercises? Like really a lot of what we do every day, even if it's just taking a walk, it's like you can just label it exercise, right? But you can also use the method, and that's what we're going to do today, to do things differently. So a lot of reasons why people don't exercise or get the full benefit of exercise so that you do get stronger is because of some of the chronic pain and injuries that some of us live with, right? So exercise can be sometimes fearful, and almost like the way we do it is with a sense of hesitation and what might go wrong. I better not do that, and then that's going to be the limit of your range of motion. It's not probably going to make you feel as good as I would hope. Does anybody relate to that you kind of move your body with a sense of hesitation, maybe some fear? What if I hurt this? Is this the way to do that? I want to exercise. I don't like it. Just raise your hand so I get a sense of where I'm going with this, as far as wanting to go where you need it to go, right? Because everybody's different. And then some people will exercise, especially having worked in so many arenas of health and fitness. There are people I know that exercise regardless of pain, even though they have pain before, during, and after. They are going to push themselves and they are going to exercise. So everybody has a different pain threshold. Everybody has different information about what they think is the problem. And I want you to have a personal experience with your body. We're going to do a few movements today to maybe get you a little bit excited that there's a lot of different options in doing simple movements. So raise your hand. Does anybody here get any kind of shoulder pain or issues in the neck and shoulders? Just raise your hands. Okay. And does that limit the feeling of rotating your arm and shoulder when you do any exercises, or even when you reach on a top shelf for something that you need? And you can just raise your hand. So right. So it almost seems to be, especially in this world today with all of the devices that were kind of hunched over computers and sitting and driving and washing dishes, rotator cuff issues, stiffness in the neck and shoulders is kind of universal, right? But it's it's not a good one to have because we do so many movements with our arms and shoulders every day, right? Just everyday movements. We don't call them exercises. But how many times a day do you have to reach your arm back to put a coat on? Or reach up to, get something on a shelf, or even if you have to brush your hair. That's like a huge rotation of your upper arm bone. So I think if we do it differently, you might use all of those everyday movements. Here's the caveat, but incorporate more parts of your body. The challenge with the way most of us are trained to move is to focus on one part of the body. It's the way most of, especially, sort of the Western world, it's, there's different pockets around the world, but I won't belabor that. But certainly in the United States, it got, very much into, I, put this down, I lift this up, I stretch this part of my body, then I go to the next part of my body. Okay, and so we isolate different parts of the body. If we get pain, we focus on that part of the body. All right, that doesn't work. And if there weren't this epidemic of chronic pain out there, I wouldn't be so bold in saying that. But I think it needs to be said because people don't get relief. And they end up being fearful, and then they try a lot of relaxation exercises, which I know the balls can be very relaxing, and I'm not against relaxing, but that's the result of feeling your physical body, right? In order to move your body, you still have to incorporate all different parts of your body. So I'll say one other thing before we start trying some different things today. Think about reading a book with 10 chapters in it. Just reading a book, 10 different chapters, all right? If you only read chapter 5, do you know anything about that book? And just reading chapter 5 sounds good. That's it, maybe you'll get the monarch notes, but you don't know the book. When you focus on one area that is your problem, it's like reading chapter 5. There's, 9 other chapters. There's so many different parts of your body that allow your shoulders to move. But if you don't utilize them, and here's the real amazing thing about the body, you don't even have to be good at it, but you have to be in the game. I was a huge reader, not good at it, but huge reader. I just love to read. I always missed, and I learned from other people going, did you notice that? No, I had missed that whole chapter. But, I learned what to pay attention to. And you start getting good at it, even if you don't think you are. And the body is extremely forgiving, but not if you're only focusing on one chapter. So that's what we're going to start doing today, is to get that sensation, the difference between you focusing on one part of your body and you focusing on the feeling of the whole. Now remember, neurologically, what I'm asking you to explore, and I want you to explore this with your everyday movements, the few that we're going to do today during your week, feeling all the different chapters, whatever that is. I said, you don't have to be, you don't have to be great at it, but your body will then start giving you feedback. But it will not be able to give you the whole story, or even a sense of what the book is like, but if you're only focused on one part. So neurologically, this is how your body works. That's why it gets you in the game, and the other way doesn't work. Any questions before we move on? Nobody has any questions? Because that worries me that I'm already like speaking a foreign language. We need to put it into words. We're going to start talking about your physical body, and I've given you a bunch of information. Here's what's going to make it different for you. Whether you go to the gym or walk around your home, is that you have today, you will get a physical, personal experience with your body, right? So that's why sometimes it's kind of like that leap is when I get people looking at me, they don't really know what does that mean. But I want you to really, try to, even if what you think you're saying doesn't make sense, your nervous system is figuring it out. It's going, wait a minute, what was on chapter 5? Where was that? And that's okay, because it means you're interested, you're in the game, and bodies are forgiving. But don't not get involved, right? Because I want you to have a physical experience with your body. Does everybody have balls? I shouldn't say.
Yes.
Okay. I say to my social media, anyway, that's a whole nother story, but I'll go, oh, about the balls or balls. And she'll go, we can't say that. We can't say that. I'm thinking with all the crap on social media, the balls is like a problem. I don't know, whatever. Does everybody have balls? You can just raise your hands.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So now we're going to get, so if you don't get this distinction, you could please just ask me a question. All right. I don't know, I don't know what you're talking about or whatever. So what we're going to start with, and even if you think, and I do this every day, and somebody said something to me yesterday who's been doing it for years. And I thought it was kind of interesting. This is a really good example of information, a distinction about the body and feeling the physical body. I do the same thing that we're going to do today, every day. Every day, same thing, same way. And it's always like, there's a reason why we do this, because your body can give you feedback. But she said, which was interesting, she goes, I don't want to do any of that beginner stuff. I already know where my sits bones are. I already know where, my pelvis is and whatever. That's an intellectual thing. We think we feel our body. Feeling the physical body is, the difference between saying, I already know, what Rome is like. I read about it and whatever. Going there and eating the food and probably swimming in the water is probably really different than that. So let's do that with your physical body. So that being said, this is easy to do unless you decide you want to make it really hard to do. So let's try to get some real simple directions here. Just a sense of what you notice about the way you're starting. And this is interactive. You can kind of, give a little raise your hand or, speak up, but I am going to ask a couple of you, or welcome to have a couple of you describe what you notice about the way you're starting today. This is what I do every day. This is the most important thing, because this is your nervous system now going, oh, okay, I can give you feedback, right? But otherwise it just stays stuck in its habit. So you're all sitting, and you're going to take about 15 or 20 seconds. You can do this on your own, lying down, sitting. You could be sitting on a park bench, and just you're getting a kinesthetic sensation of the feeling of the physical body for about 15 or 20 seconds. And so that's your sense of switching gears between thinking and feeling. So anybody said this, what are the first things that you noticed today? This is so we have a baseline to know if anything we did changed. Anybody have anything they notice about their sitting or the way they're starting? Anything stand out? You could, raise your hand and I'll call on you. Maggie, you're on mute though, sweetie. There you go. Good. You're still on mute. You really listened though. I like that. Okay. I'm on mute and I'm never coming off of mute. Arlene, did you want to say something? Your screen popped up. Maybe that was just,
Oh, I kind of understood that you wanted us to be able to be spontaneous, so I needed to come off of mute.
Oh, okay. So you moved. Okay. Got it. Joanne?
My head feels very heavy, and so feel very compressed, which is affecting my breathing.
Okay. Anybody else? Maggie, great.
I'm off mute now. I noticed, I've just been out for a walk. I noticed that my mid to lower back feels quite uncomfortable sitting.
Yeah, so uncomfortable is the result of the way you're sitting. So for yourself in the future, and for all of us, that's what I am good at. I do the same process, but I know the directions. So what I want you to know is a little of the directions, like just be a little bit more specific. Because feeling bad or feeling good is the result of something specific you do. You don't want to have to always go to somebody to tell you what you're doing with your physical body, because then you always will return
Okay.
to what you were doing.
Sorry, I know what I'm doing. I've got mild scoliosis, and so my lower back curves in, and so when I have to consciously try and relax it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, try not to do too much, but okay, I think that was a great decision. See how everybody really does have the ability to feel their body. Anybody else? That was a very good description, right? Go ahead. Yeah, hi, Kat. That's Kat, right? No, that's not Kat. Sorry, you're a little
Cat,
shadow. Yeah,
cat, it's
yeah.
cat. What I notice is the minute I feel uncomfortable, I notice my breathing, do the S sound, it takes it away.
Okay, but just again, to stick with a little bit, because again, we're doing this, listen, that was a very good what you would do once you sit down. But I'm asking you to do something which is the hardest part in a way, because everybody loves to rush ahead. And do something. I get that. Is to actually feel the physical body. All right, and there's reasons why, because the breathing will help you, but if you can get a sense like what Maggie just said, or the feeling of where your head is, and notice those are, and just to go along with what Maggie said and Joanne, those are one chapter of the book, right? And so there's a whole lot of other parts. All right, so you all have a sense of how you're starting, and we're just going to go ahead and make your S sound now, just based on what Kat said too. So that's the breathing piece of it. So a good strong exhalation on the sound of an S, like a S. Notice what muscles you use to make that sound. So you're sustaining that exhalation for one sound, right? So that's the interesting thing about breathing, is it's muscular. So you moved the air out, which is going to change all the chapters in the book, right? And then when you let the breath back in, which is an automatic response, give yourself a few moments to notice if there are any changes. Your body's always trying to give you feedback, always. It's trained a certain way. And a lot of times that prevents you from getting the benefit of what the feedback can do. So give it a little time between each S sound, and then go make another S sound. And we're going to do this for one more minute. All right. Notice what muscles you use to support that sound. When you're done with the sound, notice if you feel breathing in any parts of your body. Because remember, when your diaphragmatic muscle just automatically pulls the breath back in. So for after you've been doing it a while, and some of us are just naturally good at this stuff, so everybody's different, just like some people have hand-eye coordination, and other people just don't even see the ball when it hits them in the face. Everybody's different. All right, so you're all going to experience it differently, but that's what's kind of important. We can't try to mirror what somebody else does. We want to feel our own physical body. So what we get good at over time is feeling more parts. So now that you've been sitting there for a minute, does anybody feel anything different than 2 minutes or 3 minutes ago when we started doing this? Anything different about what you notice about your sitting? Maybe you notice a few more chapters of the book. Anything about the sitting that, yeah, go ahead, Maggie.
So the discomfort and the lower back, that's feels a lot easier. I'm not aware of it, but I'm very aware now of more discomfort around my shoulder blades, the middle of the back. But using the breathing, the S sound, I was very conscious of almost like things starting to relax and almost fall into place. I mean, parts of the body, as though it was all sort of, I don't know if it's the right word, stacking up correctly.
Anybody else?
I feel sitting here, particularly early on, that I'm conscious of a slouch, and I'm correcting and trying to find balance, remember, think, sit bone to the top of my head. But when I'm focused on the breathing, it's like everything else lines up almost mindlessly.
Okay, so it's a really good observation. You both just said something which we're probably all experienced. There's always this dance between what we think is the right way to sit and the feedback that your body gives you is always going to take you into balance. That's the good news. Okay, so you're accommodating the information so that you start to go back into balance, right? You start learning, that, oh, like people told me, why don't you pay attention to that, first paragraph? Oh, really? Never thought about that, right? So it's all there. And so people can help you, but ultimately you have to read the book. So you don't have to work too hard at your sitting, nor do you want to be a lump on the floor, but you do want to notice if there's some habits in the way you sit that you just constantly mindlessly return to. And how do you know they're not helping? They probably don't feel good. Okay, it's really not rocket science. So if you don't feel improved, then something about the way you're sitting is probably, making your body can't send you an email. It will nudge you a little bit so that you will change something. And that's very important when we do everyday movements. Exercising without exercising is that we start moving differently. So you have a baseline. I know this was the hardest part. You're going to lie down now and keep one ball near you. If you want to adjust your camera so that I can see you, that's fine. If I can't see you, I will still be describing what we're doing. But lying on the floor is usually easier for most of us. And again, what we get better at is knowing the difference, and people make this mistake throughout their life when they exercise. And it's unfortunate because it's almost like we're on the outside of our body, looking at our body. Oh, I already know my body. Oh, I know. Yeah, I know my body now. What are we going to do? And that really messes up the possibility of something amazing to happen. And that's when I got very interested, because I realized that all my ideas and things people told me never lasted because I really didn't feel my physical body. So 2 things give you the feeling of the physical body. These are 2 very easy reminders that you want to do. Now, when you're lying on the floor, you're going to use gravity to help you feel your body. Most people fight against gravity, right? So gravity, which you're all working with, right? Like it or not, to feel your physical body. That is how you feel your body, and breathing. Those 2 things. So when I say weight, meaning WEIGHT, the weight of your body, the weight of this part, the weight of your arms, your legs, right? There's a physical feeling to the weight of your body. And the same thing with your breathing. Your breathing brings in feeling because it brings in blood flow. It brings in circulation and weight. So how do we know this to be true? Well, when you're lying down, chances are certain parts of your body are making different shapes, like maybe under the back, between your hips and shoulders. Maybe some of you notice everything's really not touching the floor. Some of it's up. And you might notice a big arch in the lower back, small arch. And the same thing with your right or left legs. Some of you, as much as we know gravity affects things and they go down, I don't know. Are your legs completely resting on the floor, or do you feel more of the back of your heel? Maybe some of your butt, maybe the legs, parts of them are skimming the surface. But just getting that sensory experience of the weight of your right leg, maybe it rests a little different on the floor or away from the floor than your left leg. So that's, nobody has the same physical feeling. Everybody has a different experience, right? And the same thing with your arms and shoulders. Everybody is resting their arms and shoulders differently. So just resting your arms and shoulders, just notice if the right arm and shoulder is resting any different than the left arm and shoulder. And just something about, does the certain part of the arm rest? And if you can feel your right hand, let's say, so kinesthetically, this is what we get better at. Up to the right shoulder, do you notice your right shoulder lifted up, or is it resting? Does it feel like it's kind of different maybe than the left shoulder? Going down to your left hand. Is there anything different about the feeling of the weight of your arms and shoulders? And what about the space between the shoulder blades, your upper back? And then going up between your shoulder blades to the arch of your neck. What do you notice about your chin and jaw? Is your chin down, up, more to the left or right? Not everybody can tell what's going on, right? Because habits are very familiar, right? So we almost don't notice them, right? It's like an old shoe. We like old shoes, they don't really stand out too much, but sometimes they lose support. And the back of your head, my favorite part of the body, because that is so beautifully the heaviest part of your body for a reason, because that allows you to really use that weight to affect other parts of the body, right? So now you have this whole body. So feel again, all 10 chapters at one time. And I understand that is not going to be something that is ever going to be exactly the same. And it's not necessarily something that is going to be static. It's going to keep improving. So make your S sound now. So feel your whole body at one time. And go ahead, make your S sound now and get a sense of moving the air out. Remember, all of this is with the understanding that you're not making your body. You don't make your body breathe. You don't make your body have feeling. It has feeling. It breathes. There is gravity. So you're allowing it to function. Then you can do what you want with it. But if you have it sort of in a straitjacket, hold your breath, right? And you're trying to fight your way out of the straitjacket. Oh, I'm going to sit this way. I'm going to hold my back that way. Somebody told me to do that. That's okay, but your body can't do it intellectually. It has to do it by feel. So we're going to start with one ball. You're going to make a right angle with your right arm. You're going to take the ball in your left hand. So you're going to make a right angle with your right arm. It's almost as if you're doing like a Miss America wave, right? The whole arm is on the floor, and you're going to take the ball in your left hand and put it under the crook of your right shoulder. No, left hand, right elbow. Yeah.
Elbow.
Elbow, sorry. Yeah, so yeah, it's underneath your, so you took it in your left hand and you're putting it under the crook of your right elbow. Elbow, yeah. Okay, yeah, the hand is back on the floor. Yeah, it doesn't have to touch the floor, but you're just made a right angle with your forearm and upper arm, that's all. Yeah, the hand is back. You don't need to hold the hand up towards the ceiling. Keep the right angle if you can. The hand does not have to be up. It can be back towards the floor. Yes, right. So what this does is it keeps that rotation in the feeling of the upper arm shoulder. Now, some of you may feel again that you need to adjust the ball so that you're using the ball to feel the weight, right? So that's what happens when we start to have, sort of years of habits of kind of holding the body in, particular ways, and maybe sometimes after exercising really aggressively, or, maybe even just being stiff or an injury, sometimes the body loses feeling. So putting the ball under your elbow, feeling that weight, yeah, so you're not holding on to the ball. You're using the ball to support the arm so that you can feel the weight. And then notice if it starts to get any heavier, or if you feel any more of the other 10 chapters of the book now. So now we've kind of moved on to this arm a bit, but do you feel this in any other parts of your body? So as you're doing it, you're asking yourself to give in to gravity, right? So you're asking yourself to let gravity help you feel the weight of your arm, and notice if anything that's going on with your breathing. So at this point, you're learning from what you do, not from what you want to do. Right? Oh, I didn't realize I was holding my arm in position and holding my breath. I mean, I don't know. So those are the discoveries that make life like, oh, those things were monumental for me. So now you're going to use your left hand, reach across your body, take the ball away, unbend your elbow, sense the weight of that right arm, and just notice if it rests any different on the floor. You're asking it, yeah, just let it down, right? And just compare sides, or notice that right side of your body. Does it rest any differently on the floor than it did before? So remember, we're starting to practice neurologically feeling the whole body. So this has a lot to do with when we're sort of exercising without exercising all day, reaching arms. So let's put the ball again underneath this elbow. Same side, making that right angle with that arm, placing it under the crook of your elbow. That's it. So basically your upper arm comes out from the side of your body at about a 90-degree angle, right? Your arm is perpendicular to your body right now. And then your forearm is just making that right angle, right? But the hand is going back towards the floor. Some people's hands cannot rest on the floor, but that's okay. Right? But again, you're not only noticing where the ball is, you're noticing this odd sense of how the ball is supporting the elbow. But what happens? Does anybody notice any feeling in other parts of their body? Does it change the feeling of your rib cage? What happens to your breathing? Anybody, you could just raise your hand if you want. Anybody not feel anything in any part of their body? So then it's important to get specific with what you do feel, right? Anybody feel like they hold their breath? Does it pull your rib cage to the right, to the left? Does it feel like your back starts to, yeah, so go on and off the ball. So you can go on and off the ball on your own time. Take the ball away, unbend at your elbow. And we're just going to do it a couple of more minutes, and you can do it on your own time. So we're going to stay on the same side. We're not changing sides. Why don't we do one side well, and then we'll, yeah, you can take the ball away, but we didn't go to the other side. You can take the ball away. Unbend at your elbow, rest your arm, and just get a sense of anything different in your sides. You can ask questions. I feel like
Hi, it's Elizabeth. I'm new here. I
Yep.
just noticed a nice stretch in the armpit, like pectoral area.
nice. So that's your body starting to give you feedback, right? So you're going along this, 10-chapter book. And one of the things that I discovered, which was just monumental for me, was that my body, there was two things going on. There was things that I was doing based on a lot of ideas about my body. And then there was about kind of, as I started to feel it, like what Elizabeth just said, she was feeling her upper pectoral muscle. You start to go through this book and realize you're going to feel the areas that you bring attention to. You can't move what you don't feel. So you can go on and off the ball on your own time, right? So laws of gravity, I'm not a rocket scientist, but there's a couple of things that seem pretty obvious, right? Especially with bodies, especially if you ever watch any small children move or young children, especially under 10, it's all based on gravity. So you're lifting your arm up. Does anything go down? A lot of adults will move their arm and still levitate their ribs and their lower back. And then wonder, why does that hurt, right? Because it's hard to fight gravity all day. But when you watch children, or when you think logically, when you raise one part of your body, why wouldn't other parts go down? Why wouldn't your breathing or rib cage, have a response, right? Breathing is a part of movement, right? So you want to bring attention to the areas of the other parts, the other chapters, the other parts of your body. Once in a while, roll your head from shoulder to shoulder, just to know that you still have a head. Most adults don't work from their head. And trust me, if you start playing around with moving from your head, yes, I know the neck will follow. But really, the head is a very different experience for most adults because it's going to lengthen your spine. So giving yourself a couple of different directions when you move with some specificity, right? Not all about my lower back or all about my shoulder. You're going to start understanding that, wow, all these parts connect. So let's take the ball away from underneath this elbow. Bend your knees and rest your feet on the floor. And just notice with the massive shift of weight of bending your knees, did that change anything through the rest of your body?
Approximately everything.
Right. So practically everything is a lot. And guess what? You can even start to get more specific with practically everything. Right? Because again, your nervous system loves that. It's like, being like a computer geek, right? They love things that I'd be like, oh my God, no, please just fix it, right? But there's details. So it's your body and you want to kind of love, that's an amazing thing there. All right, so let's roll over onto your left side and just rest on your left side and try not to get too crazy with your right arm. Just all I'm saying is we always have a lot of habits, how we want to get into all our favorite positions, but just roll onto the left side as easy as you can, not too much effort, meaning, like with straining, and then just come back up to sitting. We're not going to sit long, so you can, come back up to where you were sitting earlier and be very open-minded to how you sit now. So here you're getting feedback again. Right? So now you're getting feedback. Let your arms hang alongside your body. If you want to rest your hands in your lap, go right ahead. But I don't want you to feel like you're pulling your elbows forward because it's going to hunch your whole body forward. So just to get that feeling of your sides, right? And so now we're just going to do just a simple movement that we do all day, like brushing your hair, and just take your right hand and just simulate brushing your hair, right? So you just bring the brush up to the forehead, just go down the back of your head, and just notice that movement and what it feels like. Does it connect to all the other chapters in the book? Do you start noticing it down your back? And then do the same thing with the left hand. Is there any difference on that feeling of the left side of your body, the way the arm and shoulder rotates? What happens down the back? You know, and sometimes you have to invite the feeling in again, because some of us are very mentally very rigid when it comes to bodies. And it's funny with bodies, because they can be the most open-minded person in the world, but they have fixed ideas. When I move my arm, I only move my arm. Well, if you know that about yourself, which again, you learn those things, see if you can give a little through the middle of your body. Maybe you can let ribs kind of move and then just go the other side a little. See if you can let other parts of your body, the midsection, kind of feel. Maybe the head even goes a little bit more up, right? That's it. Did anybody feel anything different now when you let your arms and shoulders rest? Anything different between the feeling of the right side of your body and the left side of your body?
The right shoulder is farther back.
I feel more of my ribs and shoulder kind of kicking in, whereas the left side, it feels like the hand and the forward part of my arm.
Has it changed the way you're sitting though? Other parts of the book? Right? So again, sometimes the shoulders relocate because of other parts of the body. That's why for shoulders, it's so essential not to try to just change the shoulder. It's what the shoulder is being held up by. Your feeling of your ribs, right? So just go ahead and take your right arm now and just reach up like you're going to take something off a top shelf and then just let it back down. Okay. All right. So that was an interesting movement. I hope all of you felt how you did that. All right. And let's just try that again. So no, I really want you to notice how you did this movement. Reach it up, give it even a little bit of a reach when you get up there, and then let the arm come back down. Okay. And let it down. So when you let it down, that's where gravity really helps you out. Letting it down is not normal for most shoulders. People raise their shoulder up and they bring their arm down, their shoulder is still up, right? You want to let the shoulder down. But if the shoulder doesn't have anything to rest on, right? So when you reach your right arm up, did anybody find that it was like a little bit crunchy, kind of not so fun in the shoulder?
Yeah.
Right? Did you notice that your arm is somewhat connected and attached to other parts? So maybe when you reach, did your ribs move at all?
Definitely.
Okay. So that means that when you start to read the book, start becoming more familiar with your ribs, especially with shoulder issues. Because when you move your arms, the shoulder has to rotate in order for it to reach. If you move your arm this way, disconnecting your shoulder from your back, not only is that going to hurt and cause amazing discomfort, you've literally detached it from your back. See how I lifted up and my back dropped down. So that's going to cause a lot of stiffness in the shoulder, the back of the neck, the lower back. But when you reach up, there's just a joint there, but it's not going to be able to rotate if you don't allow other parts of the body. Yes, you have to move those. Lift your ribs. Let yourself breathe. This has nothing to do with your shoulder. It's your arm and your back. And then letting your arm and shoulder down, let it down. But don't drop your ribs, because that's how your shoulders remain connected. All right, so let's just lie back down and rest on the floor, and we'll put the ball under the other elbow. Any questions? So again, just so that you can go through this very simple process, but remember the directions. Because a lot of people get on the ball and they really don't help themselves because I'm not sure they know what they're doing on the ball, right? So what the ball is doing is it's giving you, right, a sense of a place to rest the arm, right? The elbow has changed the position of a lot of different things by being on the ball. Elizabeth said that there's a change in her shoulder. Anybody feel this? Now you've already done a lot with the body up till now. So chances are there's a lot of feeling in the right side. Now that the ball under your left shoulder, do you feel any changes in the other side? And let's go back to that S sound. A good strong exhalation on the sound of an S. Could you let the arm get a little bit heavier? Do you have any sense of that feeling of your, some of you may want to do this with your knees bent and your feet on the floor. That's up to you if that helps you. And go on and off the ball on your own time. So we just have the ball under the second elbow on the second side. Anybody feel anything in their rib cage? So remember, when we move the arm, it's a direct connection to the muscles along your back. So the shoulder is that connection, right? But a lot of us just move the connection. We don't move the arms. We don't move the back. We just tighten the shoulder. So go on and off the ball on your own time. Each time you take the ball away, see if you feel a little bit more of a sense of how that arm rests. Any feeling of change in other parts of your body, the other side. So being able to discern differences gives you that feeling of the landscape. And make your S sound. Do yourself a favor, feel your breathing. Let that left shoulder down, Kat. That doesn't mean it's just going to drop to the floor. Some people it will, most people it won't. But it gives you a sense that you want to give yourself some direction. If things are really, really held off the floor, that's a lot of information about the way you move through space, keeping certain parts of you really so engaged that when you lie down, they don't rest on the floor. So little by little, as you go on and off the ball, I'm going to see if more parts of your body don't begin to come down. Make your S sound, move the air out and ask questions. If you have a question, this is not, it's not hard to do, but it's so unfamiliar. Feeling the physical body, can I just move it? Well, yeah, of course you can. But, there's a lot of things I think I can just do until I do them. And I'm like, wait a minute, maybe I could do that better. Right? And bodies really are just so amazing, the things they can do, but you can't do it through imitation, right?
I have a question.
What's that?
I'm having little feelings from time to time. I've had 3 of them so far, that my spine is popping like it's aligning correctly. Is that part of this?
Oh, absolutely. Your body's going to do a tremendous amount of things. So because the reason we're going slowly is because you end up going into your infrastructure, right? Most people, when they exercise, and that's why sometimes it's really hard to make the deeper changes when you exercise, because when you exercise, your body has to be aligned. It's like, you go into play Carnegie Hall on a Steinway, the Steinway's got to be tuned up before you play whatever you're going to play. That's not the time to tune it up. So exercise, you want to be ready with your body. When we do these things that are slow, a lot of times people misinterpret them as not so big, but they go deep. They go to your bones. You'll feel muscles. If you start to get deep into the muscle around your bone and your bones begin to make little shifts, you will hear that little snap, crackle, pop stuff. But the nice thing is it's so passive that you don't force anything, and it begins to align. It's kind of like your body is your own chiropractor. I don't know if that was helpful, but.
It was. Thank you.
Barbara, do you want to say something?
I have a comment that obviously my left and right are different, as you've mentioned. And when I put the ball under my right elbow, it takes a while for my forearm to reach the floor, but eventually it does. And that's been after several times of doing this. Whereas with my left arm, it immediately goes to the floor.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
Yeah.
yeah, but eventually it does. And yet when I'm done with it, the left shoulder always feels like it's on the floor, whereas the right shoulder feels like it's still up a little bit. And if I were to put my hands over my head, the right arm will lay on the floor, whereas the left arm doesn't. I just find it to be sort of a conundrum.
Yeah, so let me help with that conundrum a little bit, because you did that really, really well. And that is that, you know, and all of us, if you, let's say we take the balls, why don't we all take the balls away from your elbows now and just stretch your arms out to the side and just notice how your arms and shoulders are resting on the floor now. So just to go back and let's put into practice what we started with today. If we just focus on shoulders, we're focusing on one part of the body. So what creates movement is how those parts, those shoulders, connect to other parts. That's how you're going to change your shoulders. Okay, so if you bend your knees and rest your feet on the floor, because this, it's really nice to begin to feel the connection through the body. Why don't we begin to reach both hands now up towards the ceiling and just get a sense of that. So your hands are over your shoulders. Right, so everybody's pretty familiar with that and everybody did it a little different. So when you do this, see if you can let your shoulder blades rest on the floor. Those kind of, you know, triangular shaped bones, scapulas, most of us know about. So if you reach your hands a little bit further and take the shoulder blades off the floor, go ahead and do that, and then just let the shoulder blades rest back on the floor. And just do that a few times. Reach your hands up towards the ceiling. You'll notice that it pulls the shoulder, not away from each other, towards the ceiling. And notice what goes down. So does anybody feel that the rib cage goes down at all? Do that a few times. Keep reaching your hands, your arms will lengthen, and you'll probably feel that it pulls the shoulders up a little bit. Then let the shoulder blades rest back down on the floor. You can still reach your arms and then lengthen the arms again, taking the shoulder blades off the floor. Then let the shoulders rest back down on the floor. So the arms stay lengthened the whole time. You're moving the shoulders as you lengthen the arms, but the shoulders are still connected to your back. Right? Anybody feel their rib cage dropping down when they reach their arms up? Mm-hmm. Okay, so always, there's no such thing as moving arms without rib cage. That's going to tell you a lot why one shoulder feels different than the other. Now, crisscross your arms across your chest like you're hugging yourself. So you're going to take your right hand to your left shoulder, your left hand to the right shoulder, and then almost as if somebody has a little umbrella hook on the inside of your elbows, you're going to take your arms up over your head, like you're pulling your t-shirt off, using the feeling of your elbows and your forearms. Just take your arms to the floor over your head and just rest there. And just rest there. If the elbows are bent, if they're further apart, that's fine. And notice what happens to your rib cage and the rest of your back. And then slowly just bring your arms down and around using that feeling of the elbow, the lengthening of the forearm, the fingertips, right? And then just roll your head from shoulder to shoulder. That's it, just many times, right? So I know we want it all to be, somewhat simple, but it's not as fun, right? So try it again now. Reach your hands up towards the ceiling, lengthen your hands, lengthen your arms. And I just want you to understand everybody's lengthening their arms differently. So some of you put a lot more effort into one arm and shoulder than the other. Some of you lift part of your back up. Others of you drop your ribs down. So start to feel more parts of the body. Crisscross your arms across your chest again. You can bring the left arm closer to your face this time. If it was the right one last time, you're hugging yourself, right? And then you're just taking that little feeling of your elbows, right? Like you're pulling off your t-shirt with your hands, taking your elbows up over your head, stretch your arms, lengthen your arms. Very good, Brenda. Lengthen up. Right. Notice what your rib cage does. Bring your arms down and around. Did anybody feel anything happening in their rib cage? Now let everything rest. So you're using gravity. Any challenges with that? All right, so let's do this. Let's take the ball behind your head and neck now and just stretch your legs out. So all day long, when we use our arms, our back muscles are probably getting a little shorter on one side, a little longer on the other side, right? Because again, lots of us are doing things every day, more dominant on one side than the other. And our back, our whole body accommodates that, right? Bodies are very accommodating. And sometimes it would be nice if they gave us directions. No, do it this way. But they actually do if you slow things down a bit and realize, if I did more of the movements with my arms by feeling that I brought more attention to other parts of my body, doesn't have to be perfect. You're going to start finding that you get stronger rather than just focusing on the part that you feel is the problem, right? And just soften your jaw, open your mouth, exhale on an open mouth, and just give yourself a chance just to get feedback from your body. Very good, right? Because sometimes it's all almost like another language feeling the physical body. Right? It's like, well, wait a minute, aren't I supposed to be doing something? No, when you open your eyes to look at scenery outside of, you don't like, wait, quick, let me work at that. No, just like you have a sensory experience of your body and you're heightening this sensory experience by allowing yourself to feel different parts by bringing attention to them, just bringing attention to it. Oh, the weight of my head. Open your mouth. And if you let your head turn ever so slightly to either the right or the left, it has weight. Going farther, making it harder. Those are things you do in an exercise class, especially if you're all tuned up and you want everything to work, right? But the reality of when you turn your head, if you bring your attention to the feeling of your breathing and the other parts of your body. You might notice when you turn your head, oh, wow, I do feel it in other parts of your body. You didn't have to make yourself feel that. You can prevent yourself from feeling. But feeling is, built into your DNA. And then reach back, support the back of your head with one hand, quickly remove the ball with the other hand. The head is one of the best parts of your body to realign your spine because of the weight. It's the heaviest part. So see if you can just let it rest there. Well, I think it should rest this way because somebody told me that. Okay, you could do that another day. But for right now, see if you could just leave your head alone and feel all parts of your body to the best of your ability right now. And then slowly roll your head from shoulder to shoulder, just kind of like you've never moved your head before. And you're kind of open, like, oh, what does this thing do when I roll my head? Do I have to hold my breath? Maybe I don't. Because how could the body have been designed, right? How could it have been designed where when I move, I have to make myself breathe? That's no law. Other people would just be dropping in the street. There's no logic to that. So there's no logic to you working your body in a way where you hold your breath. That's just trained behavior. And we all do it because we all get very busy. So go ahead, bend your knees and rest your feet on the floor. What do you notice different now when you bend your knees? So this is your work of art, your body. Doesn't have to be perfect, but if every time you move it, if every time a painter painted the same picture, that wouldn't work out, right? Might as well just make copies of a photo. Let's take 1 or 2 balls under the back of your pelvis. If one ball is fine, use one in the middle back of your pelvis and rest on the ball. So remember, what are your 2 directions when you do this at home? What do you say to yourself when you're doing this? That's important.
Breathe and feel where your body's touching the floor.
I would tweak that a little bit, almost. Anybody? What are the 2 things you're experiencing?
Feeling of gravity.
Right, you're using gravity because you're feeling the weight of your body. So weight, right? So the reason I want you to get specific with that is because think about lifting up, if you have a printer to your computer or something, right? That's going to be different than lifting up a coffee cup. Now your brain just automatically knows that. Oh, well, not really, because people sometimes lift coffee cups as if they're lifting, 100 pounds, but that's tension. That's what people do. They use tension to do everything, and that's a good thing. But sometimes we have to decide based on the feeling of the body. Bring the feet up off the floor and let them fold in. And here's where you can get creative with all different parts of your body. How do they respond? Give in to gravity. Yeah. Did your rib cage change?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
If you don't acknowledge it, chances are then you're not going to be able to engage it at different parts. So give yourself a chance to feel that. How do your legs affect other parts of your body?
I have a question.
What's that?
When I fold my legs, my back rests on the floor more. And then my back wants to move up. You know what I'm saying?
I totally do. And the reason your back wants to move up is because you are moving your back up with your legs. Your back will not want to move up if you're feeling the weight of your pelvis on the ball. You're pulling and pushing your back with your legs. Your body's not just going to move along the floor on its own. You know what I mean? It's not going to end up 3 inches off the mat without you pushing it there. It might go down more, but it's not going to slide several inches to the left or right unless you move it there. So something you're doing with the way you fold your legs, Barbara, you're pushing your back along the floor.
Okay.
Anybody else have a question with this one?
I wasn't sure if I should give in to moving like a worm across the floor or just not. You know, just feel more of the gravity. once
I would start to get a little more in touch, everybody, with where their pelvis is. Okay, that's what I'm missing. And so open your thighs, because some of you look like you're holding the position as opposed to allowing your pelvis to rest on the ball. It's easier with your thighs apart, right? And make sure that the balls, just from watching some of you, if you wrap your hands around the massive hip bones, like you put your hands around your waist and you feel those big massive hip bones around your waist, around your waist, not your butt, your waist. Okay, that's the top of your pelvis. If you go to the bottom of your pelvis, what you were sitting on, right? That's the other end of your pelvis. The balls are in the middle right now. That's the easiest. Don't go to the top, don't go to the bottom, go to the middle. Because some of you are trying to hold on to a position as opposed to finding a spot that you can rest your pelvis. All right, yeah. So usually that's a little bit lower than higher, right? You see how you're not sliding along the floor now, Barbara, because your legs are apart?
Yes.
Right, because your pelvis is more anchored on the balls. That's the feeling you all want to have, the sense of the weight of the pelvis on the balls. That's those inner thigh muscles, the psoas muscles, that's your rotation, similar to the rotation of your arms. Those muscles, if you put your hands on your inner thighs, right? Yeah, those are your best friends. Those inner thigh muscles, the way they rotate, right? Sometimes you can, if you rest your hands on your inner thighs at the top near your pelvis, where it starts to enter towards your pubic bone, sometimes you can begin to almost notice that, oh, wow, one knee is rotated in and the other one's rotated out. It's all happening right here on your inner thigh muscles, because those inner thighs connect into your lumbar spine and take the pressure off your back. Right? So that's why it's very helpful to get little cues on what you're doing. Now, when you can let your hands kind of rest back where you want them. Now, here's the trick. You're following the same simple directions. When you bring your thighs back to parallel, guys, you're feeling more parts of your body. Why? Not because I think that's way so fun to do, but because when you bring your legs back, you want to be able to rotate them. They will rotate if the pelvis is resting on the balls, if you're letting the rest of your body be there. But if you're only focused on pulling your knees together really fast and grabbing your quads or your glutes, you're gonna miss what happens. Right, that's it. Good, Barbara. Yeah, so that was very good. So you brought your legs back together. Let me see you do it, Elizabeth. Yep, so a little less. See how you were turning your knees in and your feet remained far apart? That lets you know, again, how you rotate the top of your leg, right? Yeah, so you want it to be from the feeling of the weight, the meat of the movement is the connection of the leg. It's not the knees turning in. See how you're turning your knees in and your feet are apart? Right. You want to feel that sense that the whole leg comes together evenly because you're moving the whole leg. Yes. All right. Then rest your feet on the floor. Now, this is a massive shift of weight. Don't do it as if you know your body, that you're gypping yourself of possibilities because it just keeps moving the same way. You feel that weight? Some of you need to unclench the buttocks a little bit right here, because I'm going to ask you now to slide your legs out using your feet and your knees. Lengthen your legs. You don't want to do it by clenching your hips. You want to, that's better, Patricia. Lengthen it out. Right. Make it simple. Right. You feel the difference there?
Yeah, nice.
Yeah. Again, you just have to, when you're learning an instrument, you get specific. You get a teacher who starts you with those same stupid 5-finger exercises, you know, C, D, E, F, G, back and forth. You know, why? I wasn't a prodigy. I had to learn to put my thumb in a certain place. But why do we do that? Because we love the instrument. You love your body. I know you do. It's just that nobody tunes us into it and we think it's complicated. Get specific. Now take the ball or balls away one at a time. And we're going to be finishing up. I know I went over, but we're going to finish up. And I want you to start now getting a sense of discerning differences. Why? Beautiful, cat. Love the way you're starting to. Is it perfect? No, and it never will be. Perfection, highly overrated. All right. So if you get any sense of feel, wow, give yourself a pat on the back, because feeling the physical body is all you need. It's a way in. All right, so go ahead now and get a sense if there's anything you notice different about the feeling of your breathing, or if you just even feel how your body is resting. Some parts are, some parts aren't. All right, so now you're gonna, you're gonna use that. So remember, all right, let's just do one other quick thing. I lied. So listen, everyday movements, bend your knees, rest your feet on the floor. What are you paying attention to?
Oh, wait.
What are you paying attention to?
Pelvis.
Wait.
Yeah, if you, right, that's right. And be specific, what happens then? So you're executing the movement, feeling weight. Every movement is that, whatever you're doing, hitting a ball, playing tennis, whatever, is shifting weight. But then how much of your body got involved? And then acknowledge that. Reach your hands up towards the ceiling again, hug yourself, reach, lengthen. You're not going to break. Hug your body. Beautiful, Laura. Take your t-shirt off. Take your elbows up over your head. Feel your knees. Lengthen your arms up over your head. Take both knees to the right. That's it. Good. You're in one big movement. Beautiful. Right. That's it. Just bring your arms down and around. Bring your knees back up and your feet back up. All right. So we are now in an oppositional stretch. These are everyday movements, turning. Reach your hands up towards the ceiling. Their knees are bent again. What are you going to be? We're going to do the same movement to the other side, but here's where you want to be different from other people. You want to pay attention to more parts of your body. So you're going to reach your hands up towards the ceiling, lengthen your arms, then wrap your arms around your body, right? So you get that stretch through your upper back. You're going to take both knees over to the left and both elbows up over your head simultaneously, and you're doing a twist. Right? Yeah, good. Beautiful. Right. What happens in the middle of your body? Bring your arms down and around. So everything is, it all meets in the middle. Nobody, you know, that's not anything more than based on logic. Let's try it one more time. Bring your feet up off the floor. Hug yourself a little bit. Hug your knees into your chest a little first. Right. Wrap your hands around your knees. Did anybody notice their back goes down? The back of the rib cage goes down?
Yep.
And you let your shoulders rest on the floor too? There's no reason to pull your shoulders up, right? So maybe you can feel more of the back of your rib cage, right? Open your knees, pull your knees apart, open your knees, right? Right? Feel your elbows reaching to the walls on each side of you. So you feel width across your back muscles, circle your ankles. All of this is happening from the middle of your body. So you have to decide, is it? If it's not, it's the way you got there. Rest both feet on the floor. So tension is everything to do with all of your everyday movements. So when you're moving, you're always using tension. Tension is a good thing. tension while you're holding your breath, tension just focusing on one part of the body getting tight and the rest of it being in another state, that's not going to work. So you can decide based on noticing a couple of things. First of all, don't hold your breath, right? Reach both hands up towards the ceiling, lengthen your arms out. We're just going to go right to left one more time. Hug yourself, wrap your hands around your upper body, just taking that stretch. Take both knees over to the right. As you pull your t-shirt off, do it slowly and feel like you're taking your knees in one direction and your elbows up over your head in another direction, and maybe even move your ribs around. Maybe they want to stretch forward or drop down and back. And then you're going to roll onto your back. Does your rib cage want to stay lifted and humped up towards the ceiling? Can it come down? Reach your hands up towards the ceiling again. Rest your feet on the floor. Hug yourself one more time. These are massive weights. So if you take the weight of your knees over to the left, at the same time as taking your elbows up over your head, you're going to meet in the middle somewhere if you're not holding your breath. Lengthen. Stretch it out. Take a chance. Let things move in the middle of your body or move them. All right, roll all the way over onto your left side now and just rest. So noticing what you pay attention to when you move is going to help you. Some of you just got like 2 inches longer just watching you. It's like a work of art. Everything changed. And you know what? You're bad at it. Could you imagine if you were good at it? Right? Could you imagine if you were good at it, what you just accomplished? Now stop thinking you know your body when you don't. Come up to sitting and move this thing around like it's a new body. What do I observe? Don't put it down. Think of your body like a child. Don't insult it. Oh, you should have gone there. No, that's not good. And why does that hurt? Oh, that must be what I... Don't go there. It's not, your neurological system doesn't care. What it cares about is that you feel it. There you go. Beautiful, Joanne. Excellent. So let's just go back to just, again, be open-minded to how you sit. Take this last minute to compare with when you first sat down. That's the nervous system learning a new song, right? What's different? Be specific. Any change in the feeling of your breathing, where your shoulders rest. And just go ahead and make your S sound now and just get a sensation of, again, remember, breath is not just breath. It's your physicality. It's how you sit. That's what breath is. It creates your movement, breath. So don't think all these physical movements are worth anything without that feeling of breath and connectedness to the whole. So before we stop, anybody notice anything different that they'd like to share?
I don't feel like slouching.
What's that?
I don't feel like slouching.
Well, when you have more parts of you involved, you don't need to slouch.
Yeah.
Because again, if you're only focused on one part, you're putting a lot of strain on one part. If you have many, many, many parts working, you realize that's why I want you to really notice this now, because your brain, by noticing it, can do it again. And then it becomes sort of the strength that you need in new parts, because you'll go back to the other way because the strength of what you do has to get familiar. Anybody else notice a change in your breathing? So 1 or 2 things that you can take with you.
Sense of space.
So my chest feels more open and my back, I can actually, it's much, much better than when we first started. The pain, that sense of pinching, feeling, tightness, that's gone now. Everything feels much more connected and flatter.
Yeah, it's not hard what we're doing.
No.
The directions are very specific though. And without those directions, sometimes the only reason people get frustrated is because they try to use the ball as a way to exercise or move their body like exercise. Exercise is based on what we did today. It's a neurological experience, right? We don't really know how it happens, right? It happens, you know, just like how kids learn to walk. But you all still have that in you. But some of the affectations and the accommodations and compensations, those take over, right? Oh, somebody told me to do this with my head, right? And really knowing, and you can do whatever you want with your body. It's the beauty. You can do whatever you want, but you better feel it. That's all. You better feel it. You better understand your instrument, because unbelievable, Kat, best I've ever seen you. And I want you to take this moment, because you're like me, you always want to jump ahead because you really love doing it. But I have had to learn, go through this, that sense, that 15 seconds of just feeling. Most of the time when I start, I feel like crap. Oh man, that shoulder is hyped up into it. Fine, that's okay. But that's how your nervous system is going to know how to change you. Otherwise, you're running away from what's really there. I said 15 seconds, not an hour and a half. So don't, you know. Anybody have any questions before we stop? Because you know I will keep going. So if you don't stop, you don't stop me, it's just gonna.
Fabulous.
Good.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you guys so much. Great job. Great job. We will do this again in September.
Thank you. Thank you.
So much.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Enjoy your holidays. Any of you having holidays?
Just wanted to say
Yeah.
one thing.
Okay.
I
Bye-bye.
just wanted to say
Bye-bye. Thank you.
hello?
Who's that? Somebody
I'm
tell.
sorry, it's Elisa. I just wanted to say I feel much more comfortable sitting. I think the knees on turning really helps the back and helps my balance, because I'm usually not comfortable sitting. So I think that's a good exercise for me. Thank you.
Yeah, I think you really do like to move. You know, just from watching you, most people are you seem a little reluctant sometimes to moving. I think you just need to get your confidence back, because a lot of exercises would make you feel good. That's a great one we just did, especially, but it's the way you do the exercises. That's what I want you to have confidence in, so you will keep going forward with movements and keep getting the benefit of movements, rather than people a lot of times do movement, they don't get the benefit of it and they blame the movement. It's not the movement, it's the way we do things. And you did that beautifully, and your body went. That's what I said about all of you. I'm not lying. Trust me, I'm very, that's just the way I was taught. There was no like sugarcoating things, if you didn't do it, they let you know.
Great.
Maybe for you, Elizabeth, there, I want you to get a sense that you allow your body to use the feeling of your pelvis when you sit. So you have a lot of posturing in your upper body, which is beautiful. Obviously, you don't want to lose that connection to your upper body. And you have a great position with your legs. I want you to feel a little bit of sense of letting your pelvis help you a little bit. Just put that in your head, just a little bit. It'd be just a little shift over time will happen. And any pressure you might get in your lower back, any stiffness you might get in your hips will go away if you let that happen. So.
I have one more question. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. No, I just had one more question. What's the best way that you can see us? The mat to the side or facing you?
Yeah, that's a tough one. I mean, I always love sides.
Okay.
Because then I could see where the ball is and everything. And then side when you're bending forward. So yeah.
Thank you.
I have one more question.
Sure. Look how beautifully you're sitting. Can you sense, a lot of times we can't in the beginning, but can you sense what's different about it so that you could put and again, the brain starts to, that's why I ask you, because your brain, you know, it doesn't help that I see it. How's that gonna help you? Right? But if you say, oh, you know, like I feel better right now. Yeah, I feel better, you know, and by the time I get to, you know, whatever, it's gone. But if I say, oh, I feel better because, oh my God, you know, I feel that anchoring in my pelvis or something's going to resonate, then your nervous system just goes bam, and then you can go back to it. But if it's just like, right? So anyway, what was your question?
When we do the exercise of of taking our shirt off and moving our knees to another side, is our whole body moving even when we're taking so that we're moving to that side also, or are we staying straight?
Well, you want to have a sense, let me see if I can, right? Let's say let's just pretend I'm on the floor now and my knees are going to one side, right? And we're taking the arms up over the head, right? You want to feel when your arms are over your head and your knees are going to, let me do it on the floor. I just have to adjust the camera. There's a little secret that took me a long time to figure out. I'm just going to use the ball so I can see you, right? So when you take your arms up over your head, and say you're taking your knees to the side. Now, some of you only took your knees this far. Some of you went further. It's the arm that's allowing you to get the stretch and allowing you to feel the connection into your leg. So a lot of times we get stuck because we don't really know where to go, but you have to be very clear where your arms are. That will allow you to do whatever you want with your legs, but believe it or not, it's your arm because it's your opposition. So whether your arms are, you're absolutely right. You could take your arms in a twist if you want, but really they just could be over your head. But the twist in your spine from your legs going to one side is based on even that elbow. It's that opposition, right? It's always opposition. That's what makes your movements.
Seeing you do it makes all the difference, Elaine. We should do that more often. That really gives clarification on the positions.
And now, you know, I think the only, I mean, I would be happy to, I guess, I always stay with my original training of, you know, what I believe is learning through your own experience. I totally get what you're saying because I need to see things a lot too. So as we do movements, if you want to remind me of that, I will.
Oh, please.
Yeah. But it is, you know, nothing was ever shown to me. And that was just, again, it was all developing that feel, which you all did beautifully. But I think when we do movement, that's taking the work and putting it into movement. It's probably good to see that. So you're right about that. Yeah.
When you're lying on the floor, we can hear you, but we can't tell if we're doing it right until we watch the video.
Yeah, that's a good point. But everything you do, like when Barbara was saying, you know, with arms and shoulders, is just keep moving because you will figure it out. Like everything you do with your, let's say you want to get balance, which is something a lot of us want, right? We want balance. What you're doing with your arms is what allows you to find balance. If you don't use your arms, you're going to have a harder time finding balance. If I just let my arms go, it's very hard to use the lower body and it gets then very like compressed. But that feeling of the arms, but then equal that feeling of your legs. So you want to get that. That's why the more parts of your body you start to become familiar with, you can use them, and you did, so. All right, well, good job. You did
Thank you
great,
so much.
and I will see you soon.
Thank you very much.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Great, thank you.
Bye-bye, good to see you.
Bye-bye.
Great job, ladies, great job.
You.
Enjoyed it very much.
Bye-bye, good to see you. Bye, Laura. Bye-bye, good to see you.
You. Bye-bye.